What's up, everyone? Welcome to Ring the Bell. My name is Joey. I am your dad bod demigod.
Interdimensional Shiro, Moxie Molly, and Joey. What tantalizing guest.
I don't know if I can call her tantalizing because she's not a guest. She's family. She's my sister, Miss Ashley Mayberry, ladies and gentlemen.
What? Nepotism has no place at Ring the Bell.
Okay, nepotism has a wonderful place here when we talk about my sister because we have been in battles together against NXT superstars like Santana Garrett and Sage Beckett, and we've got our asses handed to us each time, but damn it, we put on a good fight.
We had a match with the main roster star, Lindsay Dorado.
Yes, we did. There's a clip of that on my Instagram where we just kind of...
Where you got ridden around the ring like a horse.
That's also on YouTube. Lindsay Dorado rides me like a pony. Let's go ahead and dive right into what happened on NXT this week because we got a lot of women's action, including a title match. But to kick us off, we had Chelsea Green of the Robert Stone brand going one-on-one with Ms. Xia Li. What do we think about that, guys?
I felt like this was a little squash-ish, and I'm not down for that because both of the ladies in the match are both very underrated. I was very excited for this match. I thought perhaps they both were finally going to get their due justice and be able to give us a good baller match. And when it started off with Chelsea Green throwing her train in the face of Xia Li, and as commentary said, her accoutrement, I thought, oh gosh, we're going to get a really good gimmicky match. And then I blinked my eyes and I opened them up and it was over.
I would say it was still really gimmicky despite the fact that it was really short, because I don't know if it was meant to really put anyone over, whereas it was kind of meant to make Chelsea and Aaliyah a possible tag team now. Like,
to me, it felt more like a filler than anything. It didn't even serve the purpose of uniting Aaliyah and Chelsea. To me, it didn't give that feel. It really felt that Aaliyah was kind of like thrown in there at the last second.
Right.
Like they needed to extend the match a little bit. So they added her, because when I went back and watched it on YouTube, the actual full match was only about 2 minutes.
What Aaliyah did was kind of sloppy.
A lot of
it looked sloppy.
A little sloppy. Yeah, like the I'm Prettier at the end, the timing was kind of off. I was a little worried for Xia because I thought she was just going to swan dive spike herself for a second. That was kind of like, ooh, but I don't really know what they're giving us here in the form of, like, you've got Xia Li, who's basically been on, the NXT roster forever doing nothing and winning, and then you've got Aaliyah, who's been on the roster basically doing nothing and losing, and they just kind of have now thrown them in with Chelsea Green, and maybe it's going to lead to something.
What we've seen from the Robert Stone brand and his promos, I would say Aaliyah embodies that attitude and that aura, like the money and everything like that. So it's a good choice that way, but do I think she and Chelsea Green will make a good tag team? I don't. I think Chelsea will outshine her.
That's a very good point. And I feel like Chelsea, I love her to death. I've known her for so many years. I haven't shared the ring with her, but I've shared locker rooms with her. She's so sweet. When WWE looks at Chelsea Green, she's built like what they see as a female wrestler. She can be defined. She's very gorgeous. I'm never going to take that away from her. She's worked hard for her body.
Yeah,
but she is what they would define as a female wrestler look-wise.
I really agree with that, because she does look like the perfect quintessential wrestler, kind of like her. I don't know if they're engaged or married, but she's with Zack Ryder.
Engaged.
And they both very much look like the perfect package wrestler, if you think about it.
And that's the thing. Like Xia, I think Xia deserves more of a push than they're giving her. She's not quite built like Chelsea. Like, yes, has Xia been winning? Yes. But even when she wins, they bury her.
They really do. She hasn't really had an opportunity to shine, even though she's been given some pretty substantial opportunities. Like, she really didn't have that time to shine in the Royal Rumbles when she made her appearances. They haven't really given her a match storyline. So, with this Aaliyah thing, maybe we might get to see a little bit more out of the two of these women who have, like we said earlier, flown under the radar of all of NXT for years. So hopefully some good comes of it, and maybe we'll get some clout for the Robert Stone brand finally. After that short little match, we did get to like the creme de la creme of what NXT was just this week. because we finally got to see the debut of Scarlett and like Karrion Kross. What did you guys think of that entrance? Because I'm completely like blown away.
I loved it. Plain and simple. It was everything it needed to be.
It's everything that I could have wanted Kevin Thorne and Ariel to be back in the day. Moxie, I know you and I went back and forth on Twitter a bit about it. What was your overall take from Scarlett's debut with Karrion Kross?
As you all know, like my favorite wrestler of all time, gimmick-wise, is The Undertaker. So you know that I am truly deeply into like really gimmicky stuff. And even I say with my own, half comic book, half human, I'm very much so more a comic book than maybe, I'm not doing cool baller moves like Chelsea Green or something. So I do love the theater of it all.
The theater.
All of this. But what I don't like about gimmicks is when there's no clear direction, when they're just like, I'm a bad guy, so I'm going to wear black, and I'm going to play creepy music, and I'm going to make lots of facial expressions like this. Like Scarlett kept doing over and over and over. So whatever they showed us last night, mixed with the video packages leading up, is foggy. I don't really understand what's going on, but am I willing to give it a chance? Yes. But am I in love right now? No.
I feel a bit like they're kind of taking a little bit of pages from AEW. Actually, a little bit, because they're starting to incorporate those darker characters.
Feelings from it, I did.
Yeah.
Do you think that they're going to give us a bit more, maybe like a promo next week to establish these characters, or do you think we're going to kind of get ghosted like we have been with character development?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Joey, and I'm glad you asked it the way you asked it, because the way you asked it is exactly how I'll form my answer. I hope they give us some promo to further clear up what their character is. But have they done this in the past? No. Not
one bit. I was very surprised that we got some follow-up with Candice LeRae coming out with Johnny Gargano in the opening match to carry on that a little bit. But that's like the only real continuing storyline other than Velveteen Dream, but we're not going to talk about him right now for reason. If they come out and give us some character direction next week, or even I'll take the week after this upcoming, you can do that. If they give us that, I'll be very happy. But if they just keep giving me a nice entrance like that every week, I ain't gonna be mad about it.
I do want to say, because we always skip this, even though it was not a female match, shout out to Aja Smith making history as the first African-American female referee. We skip it every week, every time she does something. And then if you've been watching the Twitterverse, Karrion Kross's opponent was actually her live-in boyfriend. So congrats to the both of them. That's got to be amazing.
Bernard,
to rest the match, of your boyfriend.
I did not know that, but guys, we got to move on to the main event of the evening for the women on NXT. It was Io Shirai finally getting her women's championship match against the Queen, Charlotte Flair. This match was absolutely everything. I was into it. I was invested. Io pulled out no stops. Charlotte was going for it. We can talk about the ending in a bit, but overall, how do you guys feel about the match itself?
No, it was really good. I was pleased with it because Charlotte obviously is Charlotte. She is who she is. She's her father's daughter. It's a household name, so I love it. Is she talented? Hell yes. Do I think her whole gimmick can get a little stale at times for some people? Not necessarily for myself. Yeah, but that's because it's like one of those, they're pushing it and pushing it and pushing it.
Not everybody likes Ric Flair. It's a thing.
Exactly.
You don't have to like Charlotte Flair.
Exactly. It was good to see somebody be able to hold her own gimmick-wise in the ring against Charlotte. Because not a lot of people have a strong enough gimmick to go toe-to-toe with Charlotte like that. And I feel like Io did what she did best.
Charlotte Flair isn't for everyone, but she's got that Flair name, so they're going to, keep giving her, because she has to continue that Flair name. It's just, it's wrestling. That's how it is. This match is telltale what made people fall in love with the NXT women's division. Like when they went crazy for the 4 horsewomen and everything. These ladies were perfectly matched move for move. People have said before, Charlotte doesn't sell for people, but she was selling last night the way she needs to. You can honestly tell by people's body language when they have, immense respect for the person that's in the ring with them. And you can tell that they both had immense respect for each other. both of them wanted to put each other over equally. And when we very first got news that Io Shirai and Charlotte Flair were going to wrestle, Joey and I have gone over and over saying like, oh, please do not bury Io Shirai. And they did a wonderful job with the movesets. They weren't even one-upping each other. They were just showing that they were like even playing ground for each other. And I think it showed that someone has finally showed up, Charlotte Flair, that she got so mad that she was like, I can't win this with my moveset. I'm gonna have to be classic Flair and pull out a kendo stick and do some cheating, you know? And then the only way she was able to get over on her was to like catch her off guard, obliterate her. And then even at the end, I think it showed how strong Io Shirai was for her to continue to like at the person who interfered that we'll get to in a second.
Charlotte's going back, correct, as a veteran now, and she's facing all the NXT people, and we keep thinking Charlotte's going to bury this division. If Charlotte comes back and starts bringing up a new 4 horsewomen from NXT, featuring kind of like Io, Rhea Ripley, maybe Candice LeRae, and brings them up to the main roster, Evolution style, we might be in for a whole new women's wrestling renaissance.
We've constantly had this era and that era and blah, 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 blah for the men. Why not give us era after era, 4 horsewomen after 4 horsewomen of the women? But the new eras are hitting even quicker than the men's eras were, and I think it has a lot to say for the women that are in the divisions nowadays.
Every woman that's going out there is just killing it, whether or not it's character-driven or in-ring driven. They're just going out there and they're doing what they're doing, and it's really showing.
No one can argue that the women's talent right now and their creativity far surpasses anything we're seeing with the men. And you can eat me up in the comments about that if you want, but I think the women are the forefront of wrestling right now.
Were there any like big spots that you guys wanted to talk about that you really liked?
Charlotte took the bumps she needed to take. Like, she took the moves she needed to take. Like, I was like, okay, Charlotte, I got you.
She didn't go out there and she didn't half-ass it like a veteran could. Because Io Shirai, people tend to forget or not even know that this woman's a top-tier contender. Like, she's number one, like, in the world. She was number 1 in Japan. She's huge. So you really got to like see her enjoy facing somebody who's such an accomplished wrestler, who's new to the game. It was a really fun thing.
Exactly.
Then we had the ending where she got herself disqualified, I guess out of frustration or not really knowing what to do. What do you guys think about that?
It kept them both strong, and it set up a feud for the future. A tri-champion feud, if you will. A tri-contender feud.
We've been waiting for that because, you know what? Ash, I'm going to go ahead and jump to this part real quick because I know that you can't wait to talk about the fact that to save poor Io Shirai at the end of the match, to come out and make sure that nothing happened to the genius of the sky. We looked up to the heavens and we cried out, "This is my brutality!" And Rhea Ripley returned, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh man, it was so good to see her. I was telling Joey before, Rhea's one of my close friends. So anytime I will break kayfabe and I will pop every time she comes down and like does anything. It could be the worst promo in the world, and I'm sitting there. She can do no wrong in my eyes. I love her so much. She's incredibly strong. She's quick when she needs to be quick. She's hard hitting. She's a showstopper. Like, she knows how to get the crowd behind her. If her gimmick's to not get them behind her, if she's got to be a heel, she's a damn good heel. She knows how to put in work and how to help others with even what they're trying to do. And right. I loved it. I was so excited to see her. I squeal like a little 5-year-old seeing Justin Bieber. It's horribly embarrassing.
Well, sorry. After she came in to make the save, her and Io went at it all the way backstage. So that, with all this frustration with all of these women now, it perfectly sets up for a triple threat.
Even if it's not a triple threat, if it ends up being a freaking feud between freaking Rhea Ripley and Io, oh, honey, I am her for that. I don't think it's supposed to be that Rhea came out and saved the day. I think it's that Rhea came out to be like, I don't care about Io Shirai. This is a perfect time to go hit freaking Charlotte Flair and show her that I'm still a force to be reckoned with.
Exactly.
And that's Io was yelling at Rhea. Rhea was just like, She wasn't being friendly to save the day. She was being a punk-ass bitch in the best way.
So on NXT UK this week, they did a cool little throwback and showed some unaired matches that happened at the Download Festival a few years ago. We got to see Shayna Baszler go one-on-one with Isla Dawn, and we also got to see the NXT UK Women's Champion at the time, Toni Storm, defend against Deonna Purrazzo, of all people. Just seemed like a weird time for them to throw that match out. I just find it weird that you would air that after someone got released, but maybe that's just me.
While we're on it, if you haven't looked at the exclusive interview DS had with Deonna Purrazzo, be sure to watch it after this video.
I flipped out. This is not okay. Think the worst. Think the worst. They're bringing us to Ron Fire us. Shy, 19-year-old girl to now. Like, I just kept telling myself, like, you deserve this. You've worked your butt off. Like, you deserve this.
But also, the only thing I want to point out about this match is I think everyone should go and watch both of them. They're fun. But with the way that Shayna Baszler's been running through the division right now, Isla Dawn looks like the strongest woman on the roster. Let's go ahead and move on and talk about some AEW, because we got some pretty heavy women's segments from AEW for the first time in a while this week. It was all about the return of the native beast, Nyla Rose, and she went one-on-one with Kenzie Paige. Yeah, what do you guys think about Nyla's return?
It was a squash, but we all knew it was going to be a squash. I think Kenzie Paige is so adorable, and don't get mad at me, I'm going to get eaten up in the comments. I enjoyed seeing her and her facial expressions more than their newest signee, Anna Jay. I'm just still not feeling her, but I think Kenzie Paige is so cute. And she was like kind of overselling, but her size compared to Nyla Rose, it made sense.
It made a lot of sense because you said it was a squash, but I think it went beyond like just a normal squash match. Like she was like literally squashing this girl, like that triple power bomb at the end.
Yeah, that's literally the next thing I was going to say. That triple power bomb, they said that she started training when she was 14 and she's only like 18 years old, I think, is what commentary said, that Kenzie Paige, or maybe they even said 17.
Yeah, they did say that.
She's really young. I was going to say she was taking those power bombs and bumping like with the best of them. So I was really impressed by her. But I mean, it was a squash match. It's what you expect when you don't see a champion for a while, which again, that's not a dig. In any other circumstance, that would be a dig in the booking. We understand we haven't seen her in a while because of coronavirus. So right. I think it was a perfect way to introduce her again before the match. That video package,
the promos.
Yeah, I think that video package was, I almost think we didn't need the squash match because that video package was put together like, the only thing that could have made that video package better is if our own dear DS did it, because he's just the best editing person I know in the world.
Nyla Rose's return was marked by that promo and the promo that she did on stage with Tony Schiavone. The promo with Tony is kind of interesting to me because I feel like that's like Britt Baker's segment, and now when he interviews other people, I'm like, why are you cheating on Britt Baker? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Nyla Rose kind of showed the belt off to the entire division, and then she showed it off to Britt Baker, and Britt Baker made the face of probably the next decade. Did you guys see that?
Mm-hmm. Do it for us, Joey.
I don't think that was the face. I feel like that's what I'm going to look like if I ever have a stroke. Overall, where do we feel like AEW is taking its women's division now that Nyla's back in the picture?
They need somebody that can go more toe-to-toe with her. It can't always be a squash. Because you're going to lose the fans if you always make it a squash, just like with Nia Jax, in WWE. If all she ever has is squash matches, no one's going to want to watch her because they're like, oh, okay, we know how this is going to go.
I think the first squash match is fine. I think they need to bring in a more reputable contender.
Maybe one or two, and that's it. Like, come on, we need somebody that can compete. We need somebody that can hang with her, somebody that can go toe-to-toe with her. Make her bump like she's making you bump.
Pre-coronavirus, they were making Nyla Rose out to be the biggest, baddest female heel that AEW has to offer. Now, here we are in coronavirus verse, and when Nyla was in a shelter in, we started to see Britt Baker evolve. And I'm sorry, eat me up in the comments if you want, character-wise and promo-wise, Britt Baker has really taken on the role as the biggest heel right now. And I think the way the video package was set up, it leads us to believe that it's going to be Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose. I think it would be interesting if they try to make Nyla Rose the face in that match, because although I thought it was fake, but other people have told me it wasn't, the whole thing with the blood and the glove, her looking at the camera, Britt Baker looking at the camera and laughing. Like, it almost made her seem maybe not as strong as Nyla Rose, but maybe more maniacal than Nyla Rose. I think that her saying she's a doctor, she has a PhD, blah, 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 blah. This is the perfect time to turn this into Britt Baker is going to win over Nyla Rose, but she's going to play psychological games with her first. And I think if they take that route, we really can see Britt Baker take on Nyla Rose, but in more of a gimmicky sort of playing with her head way instead of being able just throwing, trying to chop the big tree down. So if that's what they're setting us up for, I think I'm down with it.
I'm very much down for it, because if the past couple weeks with Britt Baker has shown us anything, she's psychotic. She really is. That's where her character is going. And then it was cemented at the end of the night. Well, not the end of the night, but close to it last night when out of nowhere, she DDTs Brandi Rhodes on the outside, throws her in, and lets Jake Roberts put a snake on her.
That was the most awkward I've seen anyone get tossed into a ring ever. Like, at one point, Britt Baker had her hand on Brandi's hiney and just trying to push her in.
Shoved her in.
I don't know. They needed to practice that a bit, because I don't know. It seemed like Brandi just turned into a sandbag. She was just not moving, not helping at all. I don't know. I was just okay, get her in the ring already.
She does kind of have to sandbag her in, because the DDT is supposed to knock her out enough that she can go in and have a whole snake put on her.
I know, but she can still put a little bounce in her toes to get up on the ring. This is wrestling after all. We go on to the snake thing, because maybe this is just me, and you all know that I'm for everyone's rights to a fault. And some people say sometimes they don't even want me sticking up for them. I was so put off by him continuing to rearrange the snake so it was on her chest. I was so put off by him lining up the snake so it started to crawl between her legs. I get it, AEW is trying to be edgy and go back to the 90s, but there's I am not down with how disgusting that was for me.
She's also the top executive female of the company, and they're trying to get him over as heels. And maybe that's how they discussed it, and that's how the program was going to happen. As long as everyone was consenting.
I don't think if it's consensual, it's fine. I think if this is the way they decided to write the storyline, it was a bad call on their behalf. We are in the biggest, baddest era of women's wrestling, and I feel like it's disrespectful.
Hey, Moxie.
Hey, Joey.
What is your boom blast moment of the week?
If you guys were watching my Twitter, you will know that the thing that made me pop the most, and has for the longest time, I haven't popped like I have before since the opening combo in the Io Shirai Charlotte Flair match. I can't 100% remember all of it, but it ended with Io basically getting one up on Charlotte and then kicking her in the face. And it was the first time in a while we've seen Charlotte what the heck? Just stinging, sting with the bee. So I don't know. I was just so I shared on my Twitter, Matthew McConaughey saying, all right. That's literally what I said out loud in my living room out of nowhere. I never say that term, but I was just all right. I had to pause it and let it sink in. So that was my boom blast.
Ash, what is your boom blast moment of the week?
Rhea. There was a lot of good moments for women's wrestling this week. It feels good to be a female in the business with them. Just seeing her face, but also, like you said, it wasn't women's wrestling, but Aja being the ref that she is and making that stride for females in this business. Is she the first female ref? Obviously not. It felt good to see strides being made for us.
Yes.
So Those two have to. It's like a tie for me.
I'm glad that you said Rhea's return was yours, because I was also going to be tied for my boom blast. It was going to be between Rhea returning and rah, 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 rah. I love that entrance, yeah. It was my favorite. It was so good. Well, guys, that was AEW and NXT this week. Hey, Moxie.
Hey, Joey.
Hey, Ashley.
Where
can people find you?
Oh god, so Facebook, Ashley Mayberry. My Twitter is, I'm absolutely horrible at Twitter, but I'm really trying to get better at it. At Star Wars Royalty. The main place you guys can find me is definitely on my Instagram at DTHEE Ashley Mayberry.
You can find me across all social media platforms at that's THEE, Moxie Molly. And don't forget to check out the Teespring that Monsieur Diaz has added lots of cool things to, including a merch shirt of yours truly.
My shirt. You can be a dad bod demigod too. At home, in your house, don't go outside, it's dangerous. But you can find me at Joey_Mayberry all across the internet, or check out my YouTube page by searching Joey Mayberry.
If you like what you saw here and you want to get all of the latest updates, don't forget to literally ring the bell. Don't just
It's down there.
stop with our show. Go back and see all the cool exclusive interviews.
Watch all of the shows.
And the flagship Raw SmackDown show, all of our news and rumors.
We can't wait to see you next week. Until then, goodbye, Internet.